So I wanted to do a book review about a book that I read in high school. It's called Deal With It, and it came out in 2000. And when I was in ninth grade, I was 14, and I found the book in the school library during lunchtime, and I started reading everything, and I thought it was really, really interesting, and it was so interesting that when I was 18, when my senior year of high school, I actually bought it, and to this day I still have it in storage. So it's a self-help book for teenage girls, like older teenage girls, because it's pretty explicit, and it's for teen girls ages 14 to 18. So I really like the book a lot, and it's divided. It's probably about 400 pages long, and it's really interesting. I think, and to this day, it's probably the most interesting book that I've ever read. So it's divided into 4 sections. The first section is about, the obvious things that you would think of in a female book, anatomy, breast development between legs, women's bodies, periods, the timeline and the hormone changes of having a menstrual, the 28-day cycle. The next section, section 2, they have different chapters on sex, dating, boys, things like that, and then it goes into pregnancy, and it says, if you get pregnant when you're a teenager, there are 3 options. There's to raise the baby, to abort, or to give it up for adoption. And then it also goes into, condoms, contraceptives, and, how to use birth control. Then the next section, the third section is not a good section. It's really bad. It's about suicide, rape, eating disorders, and then it goes into drugs. It goes the highs of each drug, but then it also goes into like how obviously, each drug negatively affects you. And then section 4 is mostly about your social life. So it talks about friends, family, relationships, boys, and it poses the question, is it just better just to be single, or do you really have to be in a relationship? So section 4 is called Life, and it talks about your personal religion. It talks about, different religions, which I thought was really interesting. It talks about planning for college. It talks about work. It talks about school. It talks about, learning how to drive. So I thought it was really interesting. It's called Deal With It. And, like I said, my last year of high school, I went into Barnes & Noble at the mall one day, and I bought it. I highly recommend it, even if you're a guy, like if you have a daughter or something, but if you are a woman and you have a girl that you should give it to, of course, if you have daughters, or if you have a niece, or you have, teenage girlfriends, some teenage girls that I would highly recommend this book. It's very interesting, it's very helpful, and it gives like a lot of, factual information. So this book is called Deal With It, and it gets pretty explicit and graphic and everything, like as you can tell, and everything. It goes into different, details about drugs and sex and, different things like that, and just tells the honest truth. So I would recommend, looking into it and doing some more research on it, if you have a teen girl that would need advice.